Do you remember that when we were in Iceland?
Yes.
People started following us down the street.
Yeah.
Generally, the people that were there were like, wow, it's like a really
Do you reckon they knew
mixed
you were?
crew.
I mean, it
Just
doesn't
it was
get
kind
more
of,
mixed than
Yeah.
rudimental.
Yeah,
Everyone
we
is from
stood out,
somewhere
put it
else.
that way.
Yeah, in Wales, growing up, like if I had boyfriends and stuff, they were always white.
Hey guys, I'm Ella Eyre and welcome back to the Truth Flirts, the unfiltered, brutally honest series all about dating, brought to you by dating app Badoo, the place to date honestly. Today's episode is called Cross Culture Crush, and we'll be talking all about how our upbringings and cultural backgrounds come into play when we're dating. I want to know what your backgrounds and your heritages are, please.
I was born in Iran. I came here after the Iranian War when I was about 9 years old. And immigrated to the UK, you know, went through the trials and tribulations and all that, and then settled in after a few years, and here I am now.
So it took a couple of years to fully settle in?
Yeah, it took probably about 2 years to actually get a house to live in.
Really?
Yeah.
My mum's German, Welsh, and my dad's Cuban, Jamaican.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just brought up in Wales, really.
Do people ask you about your cultural background and, like, do you mind when they ask?
Yeah.
When you're dating?
I always get asked.
Yeah.
People ask all the time. Really.
Yeah, and you're not offended by that?
No, because you're getting to know someone, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's that curiosity thing. I mean, you must have had this a lot as well, where people just don't know. So some people genuinely want to know.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're just curious.
Yeah.
But then it's a bit of a loaded question from some other people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you just feel a bit of like, okay, right, you're just seeing me as something different. And it's like, okay, I'm not that, you know. And then, so it can go two ways, really. Generally, it's like, me as a person, it's not what I would ask someone. I wouldn't ask, where you from? Like, what relevance is that to me?
Yeah, I guess it's in the way that they ask, and like you say, what the intention is behind asking. Because when somebody asks me, I'm like, yes, I'm half Jamaican and I'm proud.
In Wales, growing up, like if I had boyfriends and stuff, they were always white.
Yeah.
Because there was no other races there, do you know what I mean? But like growing up, you know, I've spoken and dated all kinds of races.
Yeah.
The thing I love about dating different cultures is you learn new things, I guess. You learn how to cook new things, and
most important,
it just opens your eyes a bit more.
I always wonder whether like dating somebody that comes from a different ethnic background, like whether you ever faced any questions that were a bit like, ooh.
I remember one time I was having tea there and she was like, oh, I love Oprah, and she carried on talking about Oprah, like I think it's just because I was mixed. I was like, yeah, I watch Oprah. So yeah, just
That's
awkward things like that, really.
That's a scene from some sort of parody, I think.
Yeah, literally.
What about you? Did you ever get treated differently by any of your girlfriends' families?
No, no. Honestly.
Have you ever met any of your girlfriends' families?
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, no, it's, to be honest, I've had a really good experience.
Racial fetishism, when dating is widely reported on, what's your view on this? Have you ever experienced anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a subtle form of racism, really.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous, if I'm honest with you. Like, oh, I only date dark-skinned girls. It's like, you shouldn't, it's weird, I think.
It's weird to narrow it down to a certain background and that be restricted.
Yeah. It's like we're all people at the end of the day. It's just, I don't know, it's bizarre. I don't care about their colour, their race, their background. That's that.
Obviously, when you date someone from a different background, they might have a different religion or traditions. Like, have you ever, had to get involved in that and involve yourself in somebody else's culture? I
went out with one girl once who was like, came from a Christian family, like a Catholic family. Yeah. So it was interesting to see our culture and stuff, but like, honestly, it's, maybe I live in a little bit of a bubble. Yeah. Because everyone I've, been close with or whatever is quite like-minded. Yeah.
If you dated somebody with a different religion to you and it was important to them that you understood and were involved in that, is that something that you're comfortable with?
Yeah, totally.
I would. If I proper loved them and it was important to them, then 100% I would. It depends, doesn't it? It depends on the person.
Yeah, individual basis.
Yeah.
All right, 50% of Badoo users think that there is a stigma around interracial couples. Have you ever experienced this?
When you see an interracial couple on Instagram, there's always like so many comments of hate underneath. Obviously, a lot of support, but people are just hating.
I always get a little bit of joy seeing multiracial couples. Though.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
makes me
same.
happy. It's a little bit like, yeah, it's good. It's good.
Because it gets like a lot of controversy online. I've seen quite a bit of it recently. Like,
But
what
it shouldn't though. Do you know what I mean? It should be completely normal.
Yeah.
But people just go crazy over it. But like, same as you, I feel so happy when I see like an interracial
it's
couple.
nice to
I'm
see
like,
them.
go you.
Yeah.
But it should be normal.
Yeah, totally.
Right here, I've got Harry and Meghan are a high-profile example of an interracial couple. Do you think their relationship has helped move on the conversation around interracial relationships? I don't know if it's helped as much as it should have. It's sad that this was a really great opportunity to
For it to be something great.
To be an
Do you know what I mean?
example.
But instead, well, they've moved to America.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's really sad that they had to move country in order to live happily as a couple.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. And it's just like, people can love whoever they want to love.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what colour their skin is.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a stigma around it. Even if on the streets, if you walk, you could see people looking at people.
It's so true,
Yeah.
and particularly when I've travelled, I've experienced like the odd look.
Yeah.
Where it's, you know, a bit. It's,
Yeah.
you know, we're in a place in the world that is a
certain
little less
places.
accepting of it
Yeah.
than London.
Do you remember that when we were in Iceland? And like,
Yes.
people started following us down the street.
Yeah.
Generally, the people
Yeah.
that were there were like, wow, it's like a really
Do you reckon they knew we
mixed
were, though?
crew. Probably had an idea. Yeah, probably some of them knew, but I think it was more the fact that there was a guy with dreads and there was like Ella and me, there was like 6, 7 of us and just like bouncing about.
I mean, it
was just
doesn't
like,
get
kind
more
of,
mixed than
Yeah.
rudimental.
yeah,
Everyone
we
is from
stood out,
somewhere
put it
else.
that way.
Yeah, because I've definitely heard from my friends in the past when they've been to certain countries, like holding hands with their white partner when they've been from a black background.
Yeah.
And getting on looks and people like physically splitting hands apart. And it's
crazy,
it is crazy how other people feel it is necessary to impose their opinion on somebody else's relationship and that the bigger picture isn't that they ultimately should be happy.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a stigma around it still.
Oh,
Yeah.
massive stigma around
I mean,
it.
if you think about it, there's been a stigma around it way longer than there hasn't,
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it's only a really narrow period of time where we have this kind of mixed culture,
Yeah.
and only really in cities as
Yeah.
well.
Well, I say, like, when I look back at all my exes, by accident, all of them just happen to be from up north, like Northern.
Really?
Like, genuinely,
Yeah.
Manchester,
Is it?
Leeds, Yorkshire. And I think, I was talking about it earlier, I think the reason is because my dad was born in Huddersfield, even though he's Jamaican, and he was
Yeah.
brought up in Jamaica. He was, like, sort of accidentally born in Huddersfield, and I think subconsciously,
I didn't know that.
I've carried that throughout my life, and that's just who I ended up dating. 30% of Badoo users have felt pressure from family or friends to date someone from their own ethnic background. Have you found this?
No, my mum don't care. She
No.
literally don't care who I date. Like, as long as someone treats me right,
Yeah.
they're respectful to me and my family, like, my mum doesn't care what colour you are, honestly.
What about you, Emma?
My parents were super open-minded.
Really?
Yeah, and it's, I guess, growing up in the crazy environment that they grew up in and I grew up in, it's sort of, it grounds you and it makes you realise what's important. And these details are not what's important.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So honestly, my dad he just wants me to be happy and he's completely calm.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
the main
happiness
thing.
is the ultimate goal.
100%.
So what could we take from other cultures to make our dating lives better? For example, in Japan, group dates are common. One single person will invite a few of their single friends and so will another.
That's a
and
good
then they
idea.
all go out for dinner together and find a match.
That's actually such a good idea.
I feel like we should make a TV show out of that.
Yeah.
I think I'd love to do
Noted.
that.
Yeah.
Especially because I love hanging out with my friends. It makes
Yeah.
everything a lot more relaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't feel anxious or anything, really, would you?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it would turn into a big night out though.
Yeah. But you
People
could
would
end
be
up
mad.
arguing with your friend if one of you like a guy or something.
Yeah.
It could get...
Or it could
you know.
get real messy as well.
Yeah.
Dating in the US tends to be super casual, with the coffee shop being often the first choice. Would you be up for a coffee shop date?
Sure, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit, I don't really like sitting across from someone and just being in that kind of environment. It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I just prefer a casual kind of environment.
Yeah. Like what? Like a bar?
I don't know, yeah, probably a bar.
Yeah.
Bar's a good one,
With
because you get
something-
drunk, confident.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that, yeah. Don't know, coffee shop feels a little bit sterile.
I think also, like, for me, dating, particularly a first date, I want it to be an expression of the person that I'm going on a date with.
Right.
So if they've suggested that they want to go ice skating, don't ever take me ice skating. Like, that's because that's something that they're passionate about or because they like doing it. I actually got taken on an ice skating date and he was really good and I was terrible.
Yeah, I literally did that and I just went round and round and she was just there.
Yeah, I'd be fuming on an ice.
It's not fun.
Honestly.
It's not inclusive. So based off these examples, what can we take from other cultures to make our dating lives better?
I like that group dating concept.
I love that.
I think we should employ that.
All right, so do you think BLM, Black Lives Matter, has encouraged white people to actively learn more about other cultures?
100,000,000%.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
More so than ever, I think.
And I'm glad. The thing with George Floyd, God bless his soul, it opened a lot of people's eyes.
I think what's really important as well is that people are actually learning how to be more helpful towards it as well, rather than just like educating. It's like, how can you help your black friends, you know, listening and not questioning and not comparing? Because I think that's one thing that I've experienced when I'm trying to explain to some of my white friends about, you know, cultural appropriation and things. They're like, yeah, but, you know, what if it's like this? And like, what about this culture? It's like, we're not comparing other cultures. You know, we're talking about the discrimination that's happened for hundreds of years over here about this culture.
Yeah, I think a majority of reality TV shows are white people. There needs to be a change in reality TV, and I've been very vocal to like certain, you know, TV shows about that.
Well, I mean, it's the same in the music industry as well. I know a lot of companies are sort of reevaluating themselves and the staff members that they have. And it's really upsetting that this hasn't happened sooner, considering how much black culture has contributed to music. So what was it like growing up in that part of Wales as a mixed race person? Was it difficult?
Yeah, 100%. Like in my town, there was like 10 black people. Most of the people that were mixed race as well were my friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was hard. I got a lot of racism.
Yeah.
Because, well, 99% of my class was like white. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and they'd always like touch my hair and just say silly things really, because they weren't really educated on it and they didn't. Do you know what I mean? It was new to them.
I spent a lot of my teenage years straightening or like, you know, trying to put my hair away or scraping it back. And I remember, you know, someone calling me like bushy one day, and then so I came into school with my hair scraped back.
I used to do that with the gel, and then they called me rockhead.
Yeah,
because I put so much gel on my hair. The boys were like this on my head. Oh,
yeah,
honestly,
I got called a chap.
I couldn't win.
Yeah, you couldn't win, and I think that was like quite tricky growing up, and I didn't realise how tricky it was until actually now.
I just wanted to be like the other girls, do you know what I mean? Because I was just being bullied all the time, so I was thinking, oh, maybe my hair's not nice. When now I wish I could go back in time and just like embrace like my curls, and because it was beautiful, do you know what I mean? But like,
it feels like times changed a lot though.
Oh, it's changed so much, and I love it. Like now my daughter, she's 5, like she has amazing curly hair, and I would never in a million years let her straighten it, and I let her know that how beautiful and
no, it's definitely progressed.
What was it like for you, obviously coming from Iran to the UK and like growing up in school? Was it different?
I mean, I didn't really go to school for a while, and then when I started going to schools, it was like in and out of loads of different schools. So it was kind of a mad experience. But I guess when I finally sort of settled, I went to a school which was predominantly Bangladeshi actually.
Oh wow!
You know? And that was my first experience of race, really, like the perception of race. Just teachers presuming that you're one of them, and just talking to me in a certain way and sort of talking down to you, you know. And that was my first introduction in that school, realizing that I'm other people see me as part of something that are completely alien to me.
Thank you so much to Lateysha and Amir for joining me today and being so open and honest. For more juicy dating discussions, click the link below and subscribe, and we will see you next time.